Hello, today we're going to be talking about real-world uses of unit rates and how do I use unit rates to find the best price of an item. Oftentimes we go to the store and we need to determine whether one item is a better price than another and which one we should purchase. In those scenarios, it's really important to know how to find the unit rate. Also, it's important that once we find the unit rate, that we know how to use that information to figure out the cost of certain ingredients. So the first question we're going to do, or we're going to answer, is our essential question: how do I use unit rates to find the best price of an item? And I've given you some examples here. The first one is we have an ad that shows us that Fuji apples, fresh, crisp Fuji apples, are 58 cents per pound. We want to know, in this scenario, I want to bake a pie and I need 4 pounds of apples to make my pie. I want to know what the cost of those 4 pounds of apples are going to be. So let's write our question down here. So Susie wants to make a pie for her family. The recipe uses 4 pounds. What would be the cost? Oh wait, I should have said of apples. 4 pounds of what? 4 pounds of apples. Susie wants to make a pie for her family. The recipe uses 4 pounds of apples. What would be the cost of the apples using the following price? Okay. So we have 58 cents per pound is the price. She wants to know if we have 4 pounds what the cost would be. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to set up a proportion using the two rates that we know. The first one is the unit rate, which is 58 cents, the cost, for 1 pound. That's the first unit rate, or that's the unit rate for the first part of our proportion. Then the second part is we want to figure out what 4 pounds would be. Remember IBS, or that LBS is the, is it IBS? LBS is the abbreviation for pounds. So then we're going to see, okay, what's the relationship between the 1 pound to 4 pounds? What do I have to do to the 1 pound rate in order to get to 4 pounds? And whatever I do to the bottom or to the denominator, I'm going to do to the numerator as well. So class, actually, can I have somebody raise your hand and let me know, what would you do to the 1 pound to get to the 4 pounds? Yes?
You have to multiply 1 pound 4 times to get 4 pounds, so you have to do that to the numerator.
Awesome. So what you said was that you're going to multiply 1 pound times 4 to get to the 4 pounds, and that you would do the same to the top. So correct. I would go 1 pound times 4 equals 4 pounds. And then whatever I do to the bottom, I would do to the top and do 58 cents times 4. Now, I am going to use a calculator this time to do this. Now, I could also just write it out, and I could do 58 cents times 4. That would be a perfectly sufficient way to do it, but the reality of it is most of the time when you're in the grocery store, you would be using a phone calculator or some type of a calculator. So I would go 0.58 times 4, and I would get $2.32. So the cost of 4 pounds of apples would be $2.32. Seems pretty reasonable to make your pie. So now we've taken an example of something where it gives you the price per pound, and we've extended it out to figure multiple pounds. Sometimes, though, it doesn't give you the price per pound or the price per unit, and you have to figure out what the price per unit is in order to be able to use that information. And so the following example that I gave you, or I'm going to have you do, is with Pepsi. So in this example of Pepsi, we see that it has 4 packages of Pepsi cans or crush cans for $11. Now the first thing to understand is, are we looking at 4 cans for $11, or are we looking at something different? Looking at your ad, what do you think it is asking you? Is it saying 4 for $11 or something else? Kiki?
I believe it's saying 4
packages
for 11.
And how many cans are in a package?
12.
12. Okay. So we need to first say, okay, well, the first thing is we're going to do our question. Our question here would be, what is the cost for 1 can of Pepsi? So to figure this out, we first have to figure out that 4 for $11 means 4 packages of 12 cans for $11, which is how many cans? 4 packages of 12 is how many cans, Lane?
48.
48. How did you get 48?
4 times 12.
So 4 times 12 equals 48 cans. That's the first thing we have to figure out. Now that we've figured out that we have 48 cans, we need to figure out what 1 can would cost. So we're going to do our proportion. We're going to do 48 cans. And how much does 48 cans cost us according to this ad, class? $11. Yeah. But we want to figure out what 1 can would cost. So to do this, there's a couple different ways we can do it. We can look at the proportional relationship. What do I do to 48 to get to 1? And do the same thing to the top. Or we can cross multiply. So what do I do to 48 to get to 1? Noah?
You divide it by 48.
I divide by 48. So I would do 48 divided by 48 equals 1 can. And whatever you do to the bottom, you do to the top. So I would do $11 divided by 48. And once again, I'm going to use my handy dandy calculator. So here's my calculator. Hopefully I can get it to show on the video. And I'm going to do $11 divided by 48. And notice I get this number that's 0.2291666. Now, does that look like money, class? No. When we talk about money, how many digits do we usually think of? How many digits do we think of, Abby?
3.
3. Why 3?
Because more reasonable than having a negative number, so you want a positive number.
Well, this is all going to be positive numbers. How many, let me ask this a different way. How many digits past the decimal point do we think of when we think of money? Riley?
We'll usually think of 2.
2. Why?
Because it's tens and hundreds.
Tens and hundreds, or we think of the penny and dimes, right? So in this situation, that means we would be looking at the 22 cents. But here's the thing with money. When you're at stores, stores will round up or round down the penny. So in this situation, if you look at the third digit, that third digit, if it's going to be 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9, it's going to tell you that they're going to round up the penny to the next penny. So in this case, it would not be 22 cents, it would be 23 cents. If it's 4, 3, 2, 1, or 0, we're going to round down, and we're going to end up being at 22 cents. So in this situation, like I said, it's going to have us round up. We're going to be at about 23 cents per can.
I'm sorry to interrupt.
No.
Do you have a chisel tip marker, like a big black chisel tip marker right there?
I do.
Can I pick up later?
Can I send it over?
Yeah.
Thank you.
So much.
No worries. Okay. So, sorry about that. So now we know it's 23 cents per can. Now we could take that information and I could say, okay, now I want to figure out how many 200 cans would cost me. And I would multiply that 23 cents times the whatever number I want. So it's useful information when we figure out in the long term. Now remember, if you look at the third digit, past the decimal point, to round up or down. And in this case, we had a 9, so we rounded it up to the 23 cents. Okay, so now let's go over to page 69. On page 69, you have platanos, you have bananas. We're going to find the unit rate. We are going to then calculate the price for 7 pounds. Okay, so in this situation we have 3 pounds of bananas for 99 cents. We want to figure out what 1 pound would be. Can somebody tell me what would we do to figure out what 1 pound would be? Chris?
We would divide both the bottom and the top by 3.
We would divide both the bottom and the top by 3. Good. So if I divide 3 pounds by 3, I get 1 pound. If I divide 99 cents by 3, class, what do I get?
33 cents.
33 cents. Good. So we know 1 pound of banana is going to cost me 33 cents. Now I want to find what 7 pounds is going to cost. What can I do to figure out that? Daphne.
In order to find how much it would cost for 7 pounds, you would multiply by 7.
Correct. So I would take the 1 pound price, multiply it times how many pounds I need, and that would tell me what I've got. So if I do 0.33 cents or 33 cents times 7, I get $2.31. Our bananas will cost $2.31. We could also set up a proportion and do 33 cents for 1 pound equals 7 pounds. And then we do it this way. You could say, okay, 1 times 7 is 7. 33 times 7 is going to be $2.31 for 7 pounds. You're going to now find 2 more examples and find either the unit rate, or once you have the unit rate, you're going to figure out what a multiple of that would be, like 6 pounds of that value or 6 cans at that value. So you're going to extend it out. You can use your own example from ads that you have, or I have some example ads that I can give you for you to use. All right, guys? Thank you so much.